in our latest word also received in our news.
Hey guys, it's Newa Kander, and today we're going to talk about Twitter. Twitter is a company that no one has been excited for a very long time. But things are really changing over there, both for the stock and for the company. And I really wanted to make a very short video to tell you why both of them are going up and to the right. All right, in the next 5 minutes, I'll tell you what you should know. But first, please take a moment to like and subscribe, and please also share this channel with a friend that would appreciate it. As we're still growing and still really tiny, I really appreciate the shout out if you have a moment in your day. Let's talk about Twitter now because I have so much to say. I can barely contain myself, so let's get started. Now, for a very, very long time, Twitter was known as what we affectionately call in tech, or I call it at least, a rest invest destination. And that's basically a place that will pay you as much as a Facebook or a Google, but not really expect you to work at all. So you basically would just kind of go there, interview and prep for the interview, and this just kind of like chill out. In fact, I know 3 different people that have full-time companies. One of them is like a Y Combinator founder, and he's still getting paid to work at Twitter because it's just not known as a place that's incredibly rigorous past the interview. And that has given it kind of a bad reputation for a very long time amongst employees. However, things have really, really, really changed for them. And in the last maybe 6 months, they have had a massive revival. They've done a ton of acquisitions. They've really changed how they think about product. And I think this is one of the most undervalued companies in tech. I can't wait to tell you why. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the stock price. The way that I see it, the stock price does not come close to reflecting the value that Twitter creates. And one of the really big reasons for that is because Twitter themselves hasn't captured much of it. And that basically means they haven't really released any new products. They haven't really done better or worse at monetizing. They just kind of stayed stagnant for a while. It's been like flatline. And many people talk about the CEO being a little bit absent. As you know, Jack Dorsey is the CEO of 2 different companies, Twitter and Square. He got basically put on a performance review from the board at Twitter for not being super present. And so it really hasn't been hot for a while. However, this also means that the stock right now is very cheap. And if the potential of the company is high, getting in at a time when the stock is cheap could really, whether you're an investor or an employee, result in pretty substantial return. So a few things you should know about returns. Twitter has the lowest market cap of any public tech company that is like a FANG. So if you compare them to Apple, the market cap is just 2% of Apple's. If you compare them to Facebook, it's basically like 6% of Facebook. And so once the company is able to release some of its new products, I think that is really, really going to change. And then the other thing you should know about the stock is that it's kind of grown a lot. It's grown 70% just in the last year. It's grown more than any other FANG stock has. Now, granted, it's still kind of low, but 70% is very substantial for a company that is just now waking up from being in incredibly deep slumber. So let's see what they're going to do with their product and why I'm so bullish. Now, Twitter is an incredibly powerful platform. There are whole businesses that do all of their marketing and grow off of the back of Twitter. So think about something like Clubhouse, which has become popular lately. All the people who are drawing listeners on Clubhouse are people who are prominent on Twitter, advertise their rooms in Clubhouse and Twitter, and pretty much all of Clubhouse's growth is due to Twitter, which is crazy. Same situation for Substack. All the people who have newsletters, whether they're journalists or VCs or kind of individual people in tech that have newsletters, like Lenny's newsletter, for example, all of these Substack newsletters get advertised and grown on Twitter. So Twitter is this kind of incredible growth engine that creates other businesses, but really doesn't charge any tax for that happening. So that's what they're going to change. They're going to look at who their heaviest users are and figure out how to monetize services for them, which is not dissimilar to what LinkedIn did. If you look at the LinkedIn balance sheet before Microsoft acquired them, you could see that essentially very small percentage of LinkedIn revenue was ads, like less than 20%. And everything else was from tools that they created for their power users, whether that was individuals who are recruiters or whether that was companies. The plan that LinkedIn has is the same plan that Twitter is going to apply. They're looking at what their power users are doing. They're creating products to monetize that. And there's kind of three big things that are going to come out. All right, so let's talk about what's new. Essentially, the premise behind how Twitter is going to run its product strategy is they want to capitalize on the creator economy. 10% of Twitter users create 80% of the content on the platform. Like literally, 10% of users create 80% of all of the content. So what tools can they create to monetize? Well, we talked about newsletters. That's definitely one of the big things the top creators on the platform are doing. Currently, they're doing it for Substack. Twitter has acquired a company called Review, which is a really good newsletter company, and they plan on offering monetized newsletters to their top subscribers. So that's kind of number one. The second thing is they have launched something called Spaces, which is an audio chat room, basically exactly like Clubhouse. And they acquired a company in order to kind of make it happen. And the third thing that they're doing is reusing a ton of the tech stack from Periscope, another company they acquired. And the founder, Kevin Breaker, I can't pronounce his last name, but his name is Kevin. He still works there. He's an incredibly brilliant product thinker, crazy respected in the Valley. And so they're reusing a ton of Periscope to build new features as well. Essentially, the way I would sum it up is right now you advertise on Twitter and you kind of expect people to move on to another platform like Substack or Clubhouse or whatever else. And Twitter is now building tools to contain the creator economy under one umbrella. So you advertise on Twitter, you also create content on Twitter, and then you're able to monetize or sell it, and Twitter essentially gets a cut. I think it's pretty brilliant. Now, the metrics have been, again, fairly stagnant. The daily active users have been 180 million in the last growth, and that's not a massive or substantial increase from before. Revenue in the last quarter was below investors' expectations. They have lower ARPU or average revenue per user than peers. So, for instance, lower than Facebook, which is the industry leader, but also lower than news publications like CNN or the New York Times. And then you have a fairly low composite rating of the stock. Now, to me, this basically tells me that the business right now is not like in the best shape that it can be. However, they're kind of in a period of a very high product innovation. And if any or even one of the experiments that they have, like Spaces or newsletters or any of that, if it's successful, I think we'll see these metrics change incredibly fast. And so being able to get in on the ground level of something like that is an incredible opportunity. Now, I told you a little bit about the new products. There's one that I missed in the most recent acquisition cycle that they did. They basically bought a ton of stuff. They bought Squad, which is basically going to be the Clubhouse competitor in Spaces. But they also bought this other company, Breaker, and they just bought it on January 25th. So this is kind of fairly new. And Breaker is a podcasting app. And again, that kind of rounds out all of the different creators right now that are advertising their creations on different platforms like Spotify or Clubhouse. Now, all of this is something you're going to be able to natively build inside of Twitter. And so it's very exciting to see so much innovation and so much acquisition in a short period of time. It is very difficult for companies that acquire to integrate these teams into core products. So whether that will be successful remains to be seen. But this is the biggest spurt of creativity we have seen from Twitter in literally like 5 years. So there's a lot to be excited and positive about here. All right, so what's the verdict here? I think that Twitter is an exciting company to work for right now because a lot is being built and a lot of things are being stood up extremely rapidly. There's a lot of room for innovation, for product thinkers, and it's just one of those kind of growth spurts that is fun to be a part of as part of your career. On the stock side, I think, again, the stock is insanely undervalued. I'm not an investment advisor and I'm not giving you investment advice. I'm just telling you about what I'm doing. I'm personally going to buy a little bit of stock. And I think as an employee, if you're coming into this company right now, there is potential enormous upside opportunity for you. Let me know if you have questions below. Very excited to hear what you guys think about Spaces as a Clubhouse competitor, or whether you think at all Twitter will be able to monetize podcasts or newsletters, and if you would use them or read them. Let me know, and I'll see you next time.